and welcome to Comics with Jose. My name is Jose. I love comics and I want to share them with you. Follow me on Twitter at Art of JLA, on Instagram at JLA622. We're going to review some comics that I like, that I love, and some that I don't like or love. I own all the comic books that I am showing. Even though we're going to be looking at them digitally, I actually have copies of every single comic book that we are going to review. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening. Hello everyone, thanks so much for joining me again. Today we are going to be looking at Justice League number 3 from 1987, featuring the B and C list heroes plus Batman. So, great cover by the one and only Kevin Maguire. Truly wish Kevin Maguire would draw more. But if you search and Google, you'll see a lot of his illustrations. He's a fun artist, I think. So, written by Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis, pencils by Kevin Maguire, and inks by Al Gordon. So we start off with Rumaan Harjavti here. Convincing them to take out the Soviet Union. He's showing them where all the Soviet Union nuclears are located. They are not buying this at all. They know that this is all an act, but when they see all these nuclear silos, they feel like they have no choice but to do it. The colonel really believes that he has them convinced on him, but they're not buying it, like I said. And he wants to conquer the world, so he figures he would start with his half and then work his way up to the other. So, and then we're here with the Justice League hovering. They haven't left the area quite yet, and Blue Beetle was wondering how long they've been gone, and Batman says 9.2 hours, and he calls him Mr. Spock. And going back to Kevin Maguire, just his facial features are excellent. So, good stuff from him when he draws. They're not just there's expression to them. He's very good at expressionism. So, Batman is not into jokes, but he's tired and cranky like always. So, Captain Marvel, or Shazam to the new generation, is a child. He's a child in the body of an adult. So, and then of course Gardner. Captain Marvel wanted to sing "Row, Row, Row Your Boat" to pass the time. So, Gardner says that he should have grabbed them. Batman says no, they were in Bialyan airspace. Bialyan is a made-up country. And Gardner says retreat is never wise. Batman's getting angry, and you can see his fist being raised at Gardner, and he actually tells him to shut up because he's at the end of his patience, and this is gonna get really good eventually. So, but for now, so he sees that the three of them are coming, and they're gonna follow them. And Batman makes a joke because Blue Beetle had called him Mr. Spock. He says, "Okay, Mr. Sulu, warp 7." And of course here he's like, "Oh, Batman made a funny, Batman made a funny." And he tells him, "Don't push your luck." And then he's seeing where they're heading, and then he's like, "Uh-oh." And of course he stops. I love this panel. Showing you the brakes. Of course, it's not going to do that in the air, but this is comic book language, is absolutely as he basically stops this. And then Batman asks him what's up, and he's like, I hit the brakes. Why? And Captain Marvel again, I would, but I don't have my license yet. So Guy Gardner falls on Black Canary a little bit too. As he fell, and she says, next time I'm gonna break your hands. And they landed, or he's noticing that they're heading into Russia. And Batman's concerned because 3 superheroes is going to look like the U.S. is attacking. Then they're like, well, we have no choice. And Blue Beetle's like, if we go in there, we're going to get shot down. And Batman is just pondering as to what to do. So in the Russian airspace, we see some Russian armored individuals. And if you notice here, they're numbered 1, 5. I think this is 2 and 3. So, and one of them is bored, and they're like saying, you know, why can't it be as exciting as the West? Because superheroes always seem to be in fights. And he's like, let them have their fun and their drugs and their violence and their rampant crimes. Russia is quiet, peaceful, free of disease that have infected the... And then the communicator goes off and says West. So, they're going to go and investigate. Here's Justice League, the team of J.M. DeMatteis and Keith Giffen just put in a lot of humor. So, this is... there's some serious stuff, but a lot of funniness. Kind of like that last Thor, Love and Thunder, how, you know, there was always jokes all the time. This is what Justice League is about. So here, one of them says, and God help whoever gets in our way. And then he goes, Dimitri, we're not supposed to believe in God. And he goes, oh, that's right. So there's a lot of humor. So the Champions of Angor are flying in there. They think that Earth is beautiful, but that the obsession with the nuclear devices is going to destroy the planet. And it's not, you know, in hindsight, it's not nuclear. It's just the dependence on energy. There's a lot of stuff. Deforest, you know, humans, we have quite the ability to destroy. I've always said for people that believe in God, that God's going to destroy the planet. Man, God doesn't need to destroy the planet. All he needs to do is leave people alone. People are more than happy to destroy this planet themselves. So, it's unfortunate. But, we're here to talk about comic books. So, and hopefully get your minds out of, you know, whatever ails you. At least you can listen about a dude ramble on about comic books. So they see the bug and know that it belongs to the superheroes. So they think that they're the ones that are invading. So they hit ship. So Dr. Light thinks that Blue Beetle hit the brakes again, but of course it's the red rockets hitting the ship. And Guy Gardner is happy because he finally thinks he can go have action. Batman yells at him to stay where he is, but Guy Gardner's not having it. For those of you who don't know, Sly Stallone is Sylvester Stallone. Sly was the nickname that he had, and he was one of the big action heroes in the 80s, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Kurt Russell, Bruce Willis. So Sylvester Stallone was one of the action heroes, and he's feeling all patriotic. So love the design here. Panel just at half here. Just I really enjoy these types of panels. And they're like, oh no, not him. And they want to fight the rest of the league, but they have to get rid of Guy Gardner. Batman is somebody bring him in. Batman's losing his patience with him. He orders Captain Marvel to go get him. He's complaining, but ends up having to do it. he keeps taunting them. Guy Gardner is so great in this series. Um, Here, Gorbachev was the leader of the Soviet Union during that time, and he's telling everybody to let the Justice League go because they can probably help with the three Guardians heading to them. So, and of course, then here we go. They're heading into the nuclear areas. So that base is going to be reaching nuclear meltdown. So we go back here, and Batman wants Guy Gardner back. Manhunter brings him in. I really love how Batman just bosses them. Just Batman's always in charge. So Batman wants them to tell him that they're not here to fight them, but of course, you know, with Guy Gardner kind of starting it. So Dr. Light is going to use her powers to kind of stop this guy here, and uses her light. Batman tells her, don't get smug, and tells Black Canary to go. There's someone in the roof. Like I said, look at the faces, how expression Maguire draws them in. And she opens the hatch. He hits the hatch, which hits her. She's angry, uses her sonic scream, and then punches him in the face, knocking down the tooth. And Batman says to go back inside, and I love how he just falls in there. And then the fight continues here. Captain Marvel's funny because he just hits him, and then he goes, "Has anyone tried talking to these guys?" So, Mr. Miracle tells them, you know, they're not here to fight, and they go, oh, yeah, you know, they brought Guy Gardner, which he says, forget, you know, it's not about Guy Gardner, it's about the rest of us. And they're like, well, no. So he gets away, throws a little bomb at him, and goes away. And meets the other one. He says, you know, we're really not here to fight. I love the expression, like I said. But they said they got new orders to help stop those Champions of Angor. And they are going to fight them here. They don't want to fight, but the Russians are not giving up. So they're like, fine, fight it is. And the plan is about to go into a meltdown. And Blue Beetle tells Batman that. Guy Gardner, of course, is very insensitive. He's like, we can just go. We'll get rid of the Russians and the nuke busters, who are the Champions of Angor here. And they're like, you know, Mr. Miracle's like, don't you realize what the magnitude is? And Batman's like, we got to get down there and see what we can do. So the Justice League goes out. Batman doesn't give a speech, and Captain Marvel, you know, it's just like I said, it's a humorous comic book with serious situations here. Another one of those panels that I like where there's no background and the panel border doesn't go all the way through, just enough to cover. They're terrified. Mr. Miracle wants to do something. Batman tells him he won't survive, and so here they go. So this is Juan Digina here, and he remembers what his planet was like, so he is going to do something about it and absorb all the nuclear, as much of it as he could. And she knows that he's gonna die, and says, oh my goodness, we shouldn't have done this. Of course the Russians says this is their fault, and they're like, you know, you guys can't control your own weapons. So he has absorbed it, but he has fallen. Good silhouette panel here. I think it's very appropriate. I really like this panel. and they're cleaning up. Justice League wants to help out, but of course the Russians are like, get out. So Justice League has to leave. They're heading back into their base when they meet Maxwell Lord waiting for them there. And he says he has brought their new member, Booster Gold, who at this time was he's a new character created by Dan Jurgens and had a ongoing series during this time. So he is joining the Justice League. So alright, so this was my review of Justice League number 3 from 1987 by Keith Giffen, J.M. DeMatteis, Kevin Maguire at pencils, and Al Gordon with the inks. Thanks so much for listening. Like and subscribe.